Thanks for watching, everybody. This video is all about speed and how to generate more speed in a smarter way, and really what a backswing is. So, hey, Dr. Scott.
How are you?
Dr. Scott LYNN is one of the foremost experts in the world about ground forces in golf, and he works for Swing Catalyst. This is the Swing Catalyst here. So we're going to be using that. So the first part of this video, Scott, we're just going to talk about getting players to increase their torque force. I think maybe it is because you see so many golfers on this, what force in the general population is the least utilized just by normal golfers?
Yeah, definitely that one. The ability to move in the transverse plane or rotate is the hardest plane to move in.
Okay.
If you talk to like a strength coach, right, they're going to progress their exercises, and rotational exercises are going to be last because that's one of the toughest planes to move in. So yeah, I would agree. It's the one that the least amount of amateur golfers use effectively, for sure.
Because we kind of live our lives in a this way and this way, and every once in a while this way and this way.
And that's still sagittal plane, but side to side's a little easier.
Oh, okay.
But it's the rotating that is much more difficult. So I'd say if you had to rank the planes, like sagittal plane's easy, right? We do this all the time. We walk, we run, we jump, we squat. Okay. Frontal plane's a little bit easier. It's the one that I work pretty well in because of my hockey playing days. But the transverse plane, so getting to be able to rotate and turn is difficult. It's a difficult skill to master.
But if you can, that's like a good kind of area to mine for more speed gains.
I think so. For some people, definitely. That's one that I've said I haven't seen too many people that have added torque to the ground or that transverse plane rotational force and seen bad things happen in their golf swings.
Oh, okay.
I've seen people get more vertical and worse things happen. I've seen people get more horizontal and worse things happen, but not too often do you see people add some of this and bad things happen. So even though I am very horizontal and I can't get that out of my swing, a little more torque normalizes my swing direction and keeps me from hitting my big blocks and hooks that I'm famous for.
Another thing you're famous for is your pull-up assist band. Do you have it here?
Yes.
Okay, grab it for me.
Yeah.
If you guys were watching on YouTube, Rick Shields went out and had a lesson from Claude Harmon recently, and this was his big drill.
Really cool way for you to feel what's happening. This is one that Dr. Scott LYNN from Swing Catalyst showed me.
Kind of walk me through like how this works.
So what I like to do is if I want somebody to push in the ground in a certain way, I'm going to pull them in the opposite direction to force them to go in the direction that I want them to. So this is called reactive neuromuscular training. So I'm going to pull you and your body has to react and push on the ground and activate the muscle just up under your butt. There, there you go. Okay, and just move your hand to the other side of this band so it doesn't slip. Put it back. There you go. Do a backswing kind of motion with your lower body and now turn through. Good. All right. Okay. So I want you to get a little more dynamic and I want you to get like right up off your trail side.
Gotcha. So backswing.
There you go. Good.
Backswing.
Good.
The first 3 times Dr. Scott did this for me, I was so I was ready for it. He pulls hard.
Yeah. There you go. You see, you're pushing so hard that you're actually getting onto your heel. So you're pushing through the toe, creating that force, and then get to your heel eventually. So,
whereas sometimes when they push through,
well, most of the time I pull them over and they kind of fall into their toe. So you got to push so hard that you get. There you go. And it's important that you know when to pull the band too. Okay. Because obviously, well, not obviously, but this force.
When are you going to pull it?
This force generally happens somewhere near like left arm parallel in the downswing. Okay. And so that's where. So if you're doing your little backswing, you kind of make your little transitions. Then I start to pull, and that's where I want you to kind of push in the ground.
So if the operator, so to speak, or the teacher pulls too early, it would
or too late. It could mess up your sequence. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting, and that's the one that I think Dr. Scott shows people first for this kind of thing. But there's a new device that we're going to try today.
This is called a Reebok core board. So it resists that force that we're talking about. So if you hop up on there,
it bounces all over.
It is resisted in all time. So it resists going back and forth or side to side, and that's the force we're talking about there for torque.
So just in like a physics 101 kind of way, if I'm standing here and I'm just doing this between how the club is moving and then how my feet are moving, what's happening here? I notice they're not both going the same direction.
Not the same direction, yeah. So they go the opposite directions. And this is kind of what, Chris Como showed jumping off the diving board.
Oh, yeah,
was
swinging
seen.
the golf club as he was jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I got a little swivel disc I show some people. So as you make your transition, your feet actually spin this way as your body's trying to turn that way. So in your downswing, your right foot is actually going to try to pull backwards away from me, and your left foot is going to try to pull towards me. There you go, as you swing through.
So we can just kind of top and stop, and then
there you go. And you want to twist it in the opposite direction, and it's resisted, so you got to really push hard to make it twist. There you go. There you go. Good.
So then you could also do the same thing where, I'm assuming where you go right foot forward for backswing.
For backswing, yeah.
Yeah.
To make a more dynamic. That's hard. And that's actually what, like Martin Borgmeier now starts here, and he kind of goes, he has kind of a torque.
Starts here?
Yeah, he has kind of like a torque pre-shot trigger.
Oh, but he doesn't, he starts going there.
Yeah, and then back.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to try that on the
Might be a little too much. There you go. And it's interesting how now you added that one trigger, now your downswing is a little less. So that tells me your decelerating of the backswing torque is not as good. So if you just take it away a little slower and get the downswing, watch how much more you can turn the board. So see how much that board turned? Now do it the other way where you go forward first.
Yeah.
Ugh, see how it's not, it's hard to go the other way.
Right.
So that kind of comes back to what we talked about earlier in terms of your ability to decelerate. You know, you're probably better being a longer backswing person and not being that kind of dynamic Martin.
All right, so I
trigger.
did that. I did this. Usually, so the three forces are the horizontal, vertical, and torque. Usually in the torque, I have kind of a gentle Winnie the Pooh style bump. So we're going to see if we can get a little closer to the tour.
To the tour average, yeah. Let's do it. So I think we have some of your old swings on here. So 82. So
this bump, this yellow bump, this dark area, Scott, that's the tour average?
Yeah, so the middle is the tour average, plus 1 standard deviation, minus 1 standard deviation. And so you can see you have 51 foot-pounds of torque. And this is this transverse plane. Dr. Kwan calls it the pivoting moment.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing as that.
All right.
And we put it in relative terms. So 82 is your force factor. So that's your peak moment divided by your body weight in kilograms. So all we're trying to do is make this number get bigger. Cool. And what we actually are starting to find is widening your stance a hair gives you a bigger moment arm to each foot, because we're trying to create those shear forces we saw out there, forward and backwards. Yeah. But if your center of pressure is in the middle and your feet are a little wider, you have a bigger moment arm to create more rotation. Yeah, you'd think,
like if I was to turn like a valve and it was just this big,
it's hard
it might be hard, but it was like that, you could really
rip it, So a little wider will allow you to rip into the ground and create more of that torque force.
Just feel like this carpet is that, and do Matthew Wolf's famous carpet rip move.
Yeah.
Because that story, if you didn't hear, Dr. Scott took the original Swing Catalyst to OSU when Matthew Wolf was still a student there. And his torque forces were so high, right, that he ripped the carpet off of here.
Right off, yeah. He ripped it right off.
And I'll talk about this torque force here. This little gap in the middle of this torque force, see how it kind of dips and comes back up again? That's something you don't see too often, and I think it's because Matt Wolf broke the plate on this particular swing. I've put really strong people on top of this mat and said, do whatever you can, see if you can rip this thing off, and they can't do it. It's a pretty amazing amount of rotational force that it takes to rip this mat, the carpet off the mat. And he's the only person I've ever seen do it. So you can see the mat right here on the back of the plate is kind of attached to the plate, and he shoves that toe into the ground so hard that he rips it right off. So you see the plate starts to show up here. So he tore through the Velcro by just shoving that lead toe down towards the ball. So right now through his toe here, he's kind of pushing down and towards the ball. And so if there's good friction between your foot and the ground, your foot doesn't move or the mat doesn't move, and then the ground pushes back up on you, up and away from the ball. And that's the kind of move through the lead foot. So if he pushes up, if the ground's pushing up and away from the ball into you, that's the reaction force is going to shove your left hip backwards and create that open position that a lot of golf teachers are looking for. So to get your hip open to the target, a good way to do it is to shove your lead foot, like kind of slide your lead foot towards the ball, or try to slide your lead foot towards the ball. And I think this particular shot carried 340. So it's a pretty incredible, and the mat slipped under his feet and he still hit at 340. So it's a pretty incredible golf swing that there's a lot of speed that he leaves, in the tank when he plays golf for real, because he can hit it way further than on a wide open par 5, and when he really lets it go, that thing can fly.
And interestingly, we we went back to those. Genghis asked for those videos recently because that's when he was hitting it really well, and he struggled a little bit lately. So
okay.
he learned a lot from those videos, and that's where this technology can be so valuable. If you have your swing archived when you were swinging it well.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be like, oh, I'm swinging horrible. Film me. What am I doing wrong? It's like, you know,
you need to do the opposite.
good. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm just going to feel this again for a second. I like that because of that.
Rip it. Come on.
Be kind of patient in the backswing like we talked about.
Yeah.
And then, let's see if we get torque force is a little higher. Smash it.
Hair skinny. Nice catch. Oh, 92.3. It's not slow. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we were like 89 before, so that's 92.3.
Ooh, that one got up to 98. Wow.
So we went from
average.
82 to 98?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I think
great.
Later on you kind of fell over and hit it, but let's do another one. So
Okay.
it got a crazy reading when you
All right.
fell off the plate a little
I
bit.
really like that advice you gave me, Scott, about as far as like, it's interesting, to when it goes torque, I would think it would go faster, but for me it doesn't.
For you it does not.
I think I would be able to, yeah, I got to go slow here and then
Yeah.
kind of get in, give myself more time to get into it.
Exactly. Unfortunately, you are not Martin Borgmeyer.
No. I'm okay with being me.
Andy.
Well, that's kind of happens with the torque stuff. The hand then plane sometimes goes that
Right.
way. You do it too early.
You got a lot of, that was 98 again, so the torque's good.
Okay, that's good. Let's
Yeah.
see if I can actually catch one in the center of the
Hit
face.
the ball, yeah. And that's interesting. I mean, this is where every force is not for every person, so.
Yeah, because it's got to work as a functional golf. You're not just
Yeah.
a speed producer, you're a
Totally.
golfer. You got to hit it in the center face too. So, okay. I always like to kind of prime the pump over
There you
here.
go. Prime system.
So here, unfortunately, they don't make these anymore. So you guys will have to figure something else out.
Yeah. There you go.
Like that. And it shows you, like, you do a couple swings on that, like you feel it. It's muscles you don't really use often, so you
Yeah.
feel it. I hit that really good.
All right.
Okay.
92.2, 133, pretty good. Ooh, 103.
There we go.
We are
Where are you
working.
seeing 103?
The 103 is
Oh, it's
your
the
force factor, yeah.
The max it ever got to.
Yeah, that you were hitting before. So you can see you have 82 force factor or 51 foot-pounds of torque. That's your pivoting moment, transverse plane,
Yeah.
rotational torque. And then that last one with all that work you just did now is 103 or 64. So, I mean, it's gone up 10% at least.
Yeah. Yeah, probably
more.
20.
Yeah, 20%.
That's exciting. All right, so use the ground, torque the ground more, and I think get creative with the ways you do it. Who's the guy? I can't think of his name. The guy that raps on all the golf videos.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's got a great Jake something. He's got a great video up saying, like, you know, the this goes this goes this. You know,
it's the opposite way
Yeah,
that
and
you
I
would
think
think.
Strixon bought that video and they're running it as an ad. It's really good. But it's a similar thing to this. I like that a little more, the Reebok thing, just because it's a resisted twist.
Right. And I think you're right.
Yeah.
It really helps. It's called a core board. It was designed for core training.
Okay.
And I think it really helps with the deceleration too, because as you're coming down, if your feet go this way, the opposite way, it kind of helps you activate that core and
If
put on the
everything
brakes.
is all forcing this way,
Right.
it's not.
It
That's
loses
not
a lot of it. It loses that
So like
sling.
if I did this and hit it with my foot off the ground, see that comes this way as I go that way.
The opposite way. And so it's a really interesting training tool. I've been working with it a little bit lately, and a lot of people seem to like the feel of that thing.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Click the subscribe button for more exciting golf videos like this. And if you're interested more about the Swing Catalyst, go to swingcatalyst.com and you can find out information about seeing the different events that Dr. Scott's doing and everything else that's going on there. Bye. A lot of really exciting things coming out with Dr. Scott. I spent the entire day with him filming different stuff, and he's come up with a lot of new things and new tools to use since I saw him the last time. And the big difference from when I saw him before is when I first saw him, he was really about the elite player, and now he's really, really good about getting regular golfers to swing their best based on what they can do. So that's a lot of what we talked about. You're going to want to see those videos, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also very exciting to announce that Dr. Scott is going to be doing a Be Better Golf School coming up at the end of March or early April. The exact dates will be confirmed soon, but to get on the list for that, go to bebettergolf.net/school and you'll see all the information about that. We're gonna have Dr. Scott there for 2 days and we're sorting out the rest of the staff for it, but it's gonna be really exciting. Just a few golfers so that we can really spend a lot of time with each person dialing in the best way to be the most consistent and the most powerful. So check that out on bebettergolf.net/school. Thanks for watching, everybody.